we meet again for another one of my exciting series, and this time I'm having another youth leader. Welcome everyone. Hi Fariha. Just waiting for Razni to join us. So I've not had my live, I think, for the past couple of days because I've been really busy with something very important, and one of our first productions from Shafma Diaries, which was my husband's cover mashup. It was called Love Forever, which was recently launched just 2 days back, and I have been getting an amazing response from you guys. Thank you so much. It has been a very exhausting and exhilarating journey for all of us. So we are waiting and hoping that it might reach more successes because of your support. Hello everybody. Hi Nazila says. Hello Ruki. I'm just waiting for Razni to join in. So tell me, Razni is here. Hi Razni. So Razni is here. Just waiting for her to send me the invitation to accept her. Okay. Hi Razni, if you can see me, I'm just waiting for you to send the invitation, and once you send it, then you can join. Hi Usman boy. Thank you for joining in, Usman. Weather is slightly changing, guys, and it's pretty cool around here. I know, right? And I've been like super busy and really didn't have time to do a live show with my husband's thing with Shafra's songs coming up, and we had a couple of other things behind the scenes going on with Social Panthers, cancer awareness programs. A lot was happening, and yes, I wanted to do it with Razni, and she was pretty busy as well. Razni, did you get in the notification? Let me just try and send her an invite. Oh yeah, she's got it. Just waiting for her to connect. Hello, Assalamu alaikum, Razni. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How have you been?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How's everything over there?
Good, good. Going well. Quite hectic these days, with the pandemic situation in the country once again. So we are mostly getting work done. Yeah. How is it there?
See, we are kind of used to the pandemic now, so it's become the new norm. But they're kind of sustaining it, so it's pretty good. Hello, everybody. So thank you for staying with us. I have Razni with me. Thank you, Razni, for joining us today. So everyone's been waiting for you. So let me just give you let me give a little bit of introduction about you. I'm not going to speak much about her, but in one word, she is an inspiration to me. When I read about her and I actually watched her interviews, I was so inspired at this young age. This girl is going places, and not going places for her own benefit, but for the benefit of the rest of the humanity. So very proud of you, Sri Lankan. I'm a little bit racial here, but yes, she is Sri Lankan. And I want Razni to give us an introduction of who is Razni Razik.
Thank you so much, Shafma. You're so kind. So, actually, my name is Razni Razik, and I'm a social activist, co-founder of Care Station, and it's a Sri Lankan non-profit organization, and also an advocate for marginalized and vulnerable families in Sri Lanka. A mother to a 1.5-year-old son, and a wife. So there goes about me.
So you're all in one package, a superwoman at it.
Oh, aren't we all? Aren't we all?
We all are in different ways, but it's only some people who really push themselves out to actually do something that they're good at, right? So, Razni, my first
Mm,
question to you, what is your biggest fear today?
oh, my biggest fear is losing the ones I love the most, and also losing passion for what I do, because I've always been driven by my passion. So losing that really scares me. Not being able to do that, because that's become part of my life now, and yeah, part of my daily routine, and something that I look forward to every day. So not being able to do that would be a very, very difficult task for me.
Yeah, I can understand. Uh, Razni, I know what you're doing comes with a lot of struggles and challenges, right? And it's not easy. Like for me, like going forward to do something for someone else, as much as I would love to, with work, with all what you said, motherhood, it's a struggle. But what motivates you daily to do what you do?
The opportunities that I get to help people from all walks of life, right? And in a multitude of settings, and directly seeing the impact that you're making on the lives of the people is what motivates me every day. And, the knowledge that knowing that there are people who depend on our support every day also motivates me to do what I do. Mostly, it is definitely the impact that we make in their lives to live better lives.
Definitely. And also, I know that you come from a family of hardcore educators, and I know your mom's a judge, right? Yeah, so
Yeah, she's a
coming
lawyer.
from very career-oriented family, and when you started your career, you were telling me in a hospital, and I know you have a teaching background as well. So, what were your main struggles with all this? That when you started this, can you tell us a little bit about your start and what were the struggles and what are the ways that you overcame it?
Well, when I started back then, how when I from very small days, I was very fond of children. So I always knew that I wanted to do something that I would want to do something would around children. So around that time, when I had to choose for my higher studies, I wanted to do child psychology, and there wasn't much scope during that time for psychology, and not many institutes had the course as well, and so. My parents were very reluctant, because they obviously wanted me to choose a profession in the legal field, because there are so many lawyers in the family, and or doctors or something like that. And therefore that was a big challenge, convincing them that this is what I wanted to do. So much against their wishes, I chose child psychology for my higher studies. And but at that time the degree wasn't available in Sri Lanka, so I went on to follow all the courses that I could get my hands on, which was related to children. And then I started my career as an early childhood educator for special needs children at the Doctors Welfare Society in Kandy, and I worked there for a couple of years. And then I happened to visit a center for street kids to meet a friend of mine, and actually, that is what changed my career. So, the very following day, I resigned my job and I joined the center as a volunteer, and I volunteered there for several years every day. And there was no going back. And for like the first 3 years, I was volunteering there actually without anyone's knowledge. My parents weren't aware that I was volunteering there. So I would get off at my workplace at the hospital, Candy Hospital, and I'd walk to the center and get back before my vehicle would come to pick me. So that was that was the biggest challenge, because I knew anytime they could get the message, and then that would end my career altogether, because young girl, a Muslim girl from a very reserved community going out was because my work involves a lot of field visits, and I predominantly at the time worked with street children. So it involved me going in search of street kids into places that not many people would recommend you to go. And looking back now, I don't think I'd have the courage now. I just do not know where I got the courage from to go and to do what I did at that time. Maybe I was naive. But yeah, those were the biggest challenges. Eventually they've come to know, now that everybody knows about what I do. They're all very supportive. And so not having the family support and then finding a partner who would support my journey was one of the biggest challenges that I had to face during that time. And alhamdulillah, you know, my husband's very, very supportive. So that is where it all began. Thereafter, the challenges were getting the approvals from the authorities for the projects, and, you know, reaching out to these communities, and most importantly, finding funding for the projects that we carried out was one of the biggest challenges, because I was very young, so people didn't believe that, you know, she could actually do this, and, you know, handling funding. Yeah, so they always thought, okay, it's just wishful thinking, you know, and she just wants to do this, and it's nice, you know, everybody wants to do this. You could still do this while you're at home. You don't necessarily have to go out and do what you do. And so those were the challenges that I've had to face.
And not very easy challenges, considering, again, I want to emphasize the word Muslim girl, because we know the community that we come from, and it is not easy. And as much as I think, Razni, we talk about, you know, women empowerment, even back in Sri Lanka, when we still had a woman prime minister for a couple of years and a woman president as well. Still, when a woman goes and says she wants to do like works in social services, we are not taken very seriously, right?
It's
So that
actually
must
not
have been tough.
considered as work.
It's
Sorry.
not considered as work. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So that was okay. So still I get that question, you know, okay, you're doing this, so what's your job? You know, what do you do for a profession? You know, so okay, so this is there, but still, what else do you do? So, and why don't you do something in your field of education? Like, why don't you get a good job, and why did you quit your job? So these are some of the questions that always get directed at me. But I don't think, for me personally, I've worked in the corporate sectors as well, and I know that the satisfaction and the happiness that I gain from what I do now cannot be compared with what getting that. So
that you're getting. And I just wanted to touch a point about, you know, what you said, your partner. I saw pictures of you on your wedding where you had called all the kids that you are part of, and it was just amazing to see that, and that shows the support that your spouse must be giving you as well. And now with all the struggles, you've started Care Station, right? So this is your baby.
Yes.
Can we talk about Care Station a bit? What exactly you do?
So I tend to get carried away. You might have to stop me. So because Care Station is a non-profit, non-religious Sri Lankan organization committed in aiding humanity. So we are a group of volunteers who share the same passion and compassion for the less fortunate. So we are a fully volunteer-driven organization. No one gets paid, not myself, not my co-founder, none of the core team members get paid. So it's a fully volunteer-based organization. And we have our projects running in 22 districts with over 250 volunteers, registered volunteers. And we provide we provide services in several couple of avenues, and that is we provide often sponsorships and refugee assistance for the refugees who are temporarily residing in Sri Lanka, and we provide self-empowerment opportunities for widows and women-headed families, and we also provide educational scholarships for children in rural villages, and we provide livelihood support, and we do disaster relief, and we also have special initiatives where we conduct programs in care homes and elderly care homes, and on special days like Children's Day and the Elders Day, we have events. We have the annual events of Back to School project, and so many more. We construct wells, water wells in rural villages. So Alhamdulillah, this started with just two few members, friends who had the same passion, and they're still with us. You know, the core team. We have core team. A core team, members who have been from the very beginning of time, and it's been like 3 years now, where they have grown so much and they inspire me so much. You know, there is, I think Rizka is here, and few others from our team, Riaz, my co-founder Khalib, and Nafil, Shifana, Rizmina, and Uzmila, and yeah, so they are all very, very passionate, and they're all leading projects now, and they're the lead coordinators for several ventures of us. So Care Station is grown to what it is now, and now we have been recognized as operational partners for UNHCR, and it's huge. Yeah, it's amazing actually, because you know what, I've always thought it just started small, and you only need the intention. People always wait for the right opportunity or for the right financial situation to be able to help. So when I started this, I had resigned. I visited a center, and then the very following day I resigned my job. I wasn't earning any money, but you know, you only need the will and the heart to do it. You don't necessarily need to have funds to go out and help people. You know, there are so many ways you could make a difference in another person's life, and that is where it should start. I feel, and not necessarily now that we have the organization. I've had 13 years of experience working with foreign local organizations and with several organizations before I initiated my very own organization. So that is very important, to gain the knowledge and experience in the field before you get into big, because mostly charity organizations especially is very short-lived. So therefore, it's very important that you gain the knowledge and experience before initiating your own, but that shouldn't stop you from going out and helping another person.
Yeah, that's so true. I think we need to, like you said, everybody wants to do charity, but when you want to do it as an organization, it's not easy. And sometimes you can lack that motivation, or you might become disappointed when things are not working. So for you to take it through so long is amazing. So for those who have joined with us now, I'm in conversation with Razni Razik, and she is an amazing young person, and she's won 3 awards. Razni, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Is it 3 awards?
Yeah? I won a couple of awards, but yeah.
Yeah, a couple more, I guess. So it's adding on to her list for all the humanitarian work that she's been doing with all the struggles that she's been facing. And she's a mom as well. We've been getting a lot of messages saying that you're an inspiration, Razni. I didn't want to stop you, but we will read out the messages later. So
the
now, sorry.
The goal has always been to inspire the young girls. So when I get messages from other young girls, saying this, that's another motivation altogether. And I would like to add to what you said, losing motivation, in this field especially, it will definitely come to you, and it's something that everybody faces, because you have to work so much towards, you can't make a difference you may feel that you try to do so much, but you're not making any difference, because there has to be a change in uh, uh, the country law, and so many other things. So you might feel like you're doing so much and it's not making a difference at all, and then you start to live, you get demotivated, like what's the point in doing this. And not all projects or all the cases that you handle will have a success rate, right? Not everybody. Sometimes we spend years and years taking a street family out of the streets, and then they just go back to street life. So that shouldn't, definitely demotivate you to do what you're doing. If you have the passion to, make difference, at least I would say, like I say, 99% of the time you'll get stung, but for that 1% that you make a difference, it's worth it.
Positive difference, right? Yeah, I believe that too. And thank you. So yes, it was actually, I've been trying to connect with her for quite some time, but somehow this was planned, I guess, 2 months ahead with all that was happening. But I'm so glad I got her hooked online. With all the work that she does, it's so difficult to get through to her and get hold of her. So Razni, since this is October and it's a month of awareness for domestic violence, I thought we'll discuss a little bit about domestic violence, because that is something that you deal with as well, right? From the little that I've experienced back home, and I think even in many countries, even in the Middle East or even in the Europe or back in the States, domestic violence is accepted as a norm, especially when it is done to a female. Sometimes, there is a big taboo and we are asked to keep quiet, to accept it, to cooperate and not talk about it, that things will go on. There's a huge stigma around it. What can we actually do about it?
Yeah, so the stigma around domestic violence is a destructive, trap. So actually, we all need to be a part of the solution by educating yourself and others, helping a friend who is being who has been abused and or been subject to sexual violence. So you could definitely speak up, and by being an engaged bystander, I think some of the things that you can do to help. Also, talking about these issues openly, will help in the shame and stigma that domestic violence and sexual assault survivors are burdened with. We need to be, I always think that, we need to be better allies for victims of domestic abuse. The more awareness that we have to talk about it and spread about it to the others.
No, I agree with you. And sometimes, like, when the person who's listening to it, when somebody is talking about whether a victim is talking to you and you raise an eyebrow and you go, oh, really? That could also be like, they might get a bit defensive. So I guess the person who's receiving the information has to be very careful as well, right? Apart
definitely,
from...
yeah, definitely. So they need to, like, when a person who has been subjected to domestic violence, reaches out to you, and you need to first listen to them, and try to understand that what they are going through, and also provide the resources that they need, like the help support systems and support groups and the organizations that support them, and see how you could definitely connect them too. And one of the main things that people do is, like, not respect their choices when they come to you with their when they confide in you and share these problems with you. So do not pressure them into leaving the relationship, because it's never easy, never as simple as just leaving, because we know that I've personally witnessed even the street kids, when we take them away from very abusive parents and connect them to care homes, I've seen how traumatic that experience is for them. No matter how abusive a family is, what a person a child needs. So you don't mean to like support it, but then you have to not pressure them into leaving. You know, there are many reasons why people stay in an abusive relationship. So your job is to offer them support and resources, but ultimately know that, you know, the decision is theirs to make, and you have to let them know that you will be there for them no matter what, and no matter what the choice they make, because most of them, most of the people whom they confide in, you know, they give them the advice, and they tell them to, you know, you just, this is what you need to do, you need to walk out of the relationship, but that's all they hear from them. They don't follow up, and once she is left and she's on her own, there's nobody to support her, right? So you have to be there. If you are willing to, you know, give them that advice and give them that support, you also need to stick with them through it all, not just speak to them and then
verbally talk about it, but actually be
yeah,
there to do something.
yeah, that's
Razni, like
right.
while we are at it, can you share us one case file or one incident that really touched your heart?
So there are there are two incidents that really changed my perspective in life and unlocked my calling in life. So they were that is what more another reason that keeps me motivated to do what I do. And there's one incident. I was working as a counselor at a school for the underprivileged for a couple of years, and during that time I had a homeless girl come to me, and she was quite disturbed because she was made fun of and picked on all the time because the uniform wasn't clean or something like that, because she comes from the street. Is a home, and you know, on rainy days, you know, they don't have, their clothes get wet, so she comes with the wet uniform. So this went on for some time, and then I had a session with her, and the following week, it was a Monday, and Sunday night I had traveled to Colombo and back, and I was very tired. I woke up in the morning, and I just felt tired, and I didn't want to go on that day. So I did not go to school on that day. And the following day, when I went to school, the teachers told me that this girl came in search of me, and she really needed to talk to me. She was 12 years old, and so they asked me to speak to her. So I went in search of her to her class, and she hadn't come to school that day. And when I went back home around 2:30 p.m., I get the news from the teacher that she had committed suicide. So that really shook me, because up to date I keep thinking, you know, if I had gone on that day and if I had spoken to her, I could have helped her. So from then on, I try not to, you know, I try to be there for people when they reach out to me as much as I could at any time of the day. So that's another thing, that, you know, in this field, you cannot just, you know, say it's from 9 to 5 and block the others out, because people reach out to you at all times of the day, and it's your choice to make. It's a sacrifice, but also something that I take very seriously since this incident happened to me. And yeah, that was one. And there was another. If I could mention that as well.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So another incident was that a homeless lady, she was convicted of attempted murder, and she was sentenced to life in prison. But I knew, she came to the center that I was volunteering at, and I knew that she was not mentally stable. And so, you know, it was in the media, all over the media, and it was blown out of proportion. And so the members at the center and all of us together, we appealed against the order, and she was bailed out. And so she comes to meet me afterwards, and she came to meet me. And obviously, so when we met, I thought that she was going to, you know, she had come to meet me. She said, you had helped take me out. And so is there any possibility of you sending me back to the prison, because life there was better for me, because I got clean clothes and I got food all 3 times a day, and I had shelter. So is there any way you could send me back to prison? So, that was a response that really I didn't see coming, because I obviously expected her to, I thought she had come to meet me, to thank me or something like that. But hearing that really also showed me the reality of life for most of these homeless women living on the streets. They would prefer the prison over the freedom.
That's horrible, because we are very quick to judge, Razni. We judge them. We say, why can't they do this? Why are they doing so much wrong? But then you need to put yourself into there, for this person to say they want to go back to the prison. How much she must have gone through living out.
That's another thing, most of the homeless families, in Colombo, it's a different story altogether. But, I know in Kandy, I personally know most of the street families. I'd visit them, I'd meet them in their places where they spend the night. And so I know most of them personally. And people looking at them, they always say, okay, she has hands and legs, and why can't she do a job? Why can't she work? But even to work at the municipal, you require an identity card or some kind of an documentation. But these people do not have any documentation or an identity to prove. Therefore, they cannot work, to be honest. So, and once you get used to that street life, it's easy money. They make a lot of money, and then it's difficult to get them off the streets. So yeah, so that is the thing. People are quick to judge, but then they don't realize the reason. Nobody stops to. I get lots of messages, some screenshots, some pictures every day. I saw this child begging, I saw this parent begging. So from those whom I know why they are doing what they are doing. So it's a challenge, because some of them happen to be children who left the care homes when they turned 18, because they have to leave the home and they do not have any exposure to the society, and they are suddenly thrown to the out to the society, and they need to fend for themselves and make a living. So most of the boys, they somehow battle it out and find a job, but the women end up on the streets, either into prostitution or either into begging for money. So this is the reality that people do not actually see.
Sad reality, I would say. So I know, Razni, like there are people like you, selfless people like you, who reach out to help, but it's the whole community that needs to join hands, right? So how can normal people like us who do not have an organization, especially when you see Sri Lanka, like there are lots of people who can do, and the youth who are willing to be part of it. How can we reach out? How can we help? Because there are a lot of legalities as well, right? What can we do?
Actually, to help people in need, I don't think you need to wait for any opportunity or even to reach out to organizations. If it is funding that they require, yes, then you might need to reach out to organizations. And also you need to know about the organizations and the work that they do. That is the reason why I always put myself out there and make myself visible, because I at the beginning got a lot of questions. Oh, you need to do charity in your not to expose what you do. You should do it in silence and not expose and share pictures and all that. I get that a lot. But what I do privately is my private my own, but what I do for the society through an organization, it's important that we put ourselves out there and show people the work we do in order for people to reach out to us. So that is how we've grown, so that people reach out to us when they see the service that we provide. And also we have had so many volunteers join us seeing the work we do, because we do not have a center, we do not have an office, we are individuals working remotely all around the country for to aid humanity. So each person can do that. We have children who have as volunteers, our volunteers children who support us so much, so there's no age limit to do charity work. And so when I started, I'd always, every time I pass a street family or a kid on the streets, I always stop to talk to them. And I always listen to their side of the story and ask them why they are here, and what help they would require. So and not just like give them the money and walk away, because giving them money keeps the syndicate going, and it feeds to the cycle. So I always only recommend to give them the meals or something for the children, but in goods, but never in cash. So yeah, so simple things, you could always make it a habit. So when I started, I had this challenge for my 15th birthday. So I had a 30-day challenge that I would commit a random act of kindness for 30 days. And I have my diary with each day I had written simple, smile at a stranger, talk to a stranger, so simple acts like that. So it becomes a habit. When you continuously do that and you realize, you get the good feeling of, making another person happy and how little it requires from you, it's very addictive.
No, I just wanted to ask you something that popped in my head right now. When you're working for the goodness, it becomes addictive, right? And sometimes you tend to help, you want to help, forgetting about yourself, your needs, your family's needs, your child's needs, and you sometimes end up messaging people, talking to people. How do you balance this?
All the time. It's crazy, to be honest. It's really crazy. Right now, we are having a meeting, another virtual meeting with 35 volunteers of Care Station, and I had to like pop in there and then pop in here. So it's a full-time thing. I know, but my husband actually helps rebalance me with work. Sometimes it drains me out emotionally and physically, so I take a break. And my team, now that, before I was just one person doing what I can, but now I have a team, an army of people to support. So when I was pregnant, especially, I went through a very difficult, complicated pregnancy. So then during that time, my volunteers were very supportive. They took over my role and they did an amazing job. So even now, the members, the core team members, and all the other volunteers are extremely supportive with the work that I do. So I am able to, if I'm not reachable, I'm able to, give them the contact of the person whom they could reach out to, if not me. So also, yeah, balancing baby, you get the calls all the time. It's always the calls. I'm always on the phone, baby. No, the other children are always asking for the phone, but my child hates the phone, probably because I'm always on the phone, answering calls and messaging. Yeah.
No, so, I can relate to that, because my little guy, when I come down with the phone, he goes and hides it. So he doesn't want me to be on the phone. So it's the same as well.
Pretty much the same.
Yes. So Razni, like, I want to ask you, with your permission, I want to tell our viewers, and I'll be informing my followers as well, especially in Sri Lanka, if they have in mind to do a humanitarian work, social work, if they want to reach out, they can contact your organization, right? As volunteers. Okay, so please do reach out, guys, if you want to do something good for the society. And if you cannot do it by yourself, then please do reach out to Razni and Care Station, and you will have something to do, something good to do.
Thank you so much for saying that. It means a lot because, like I said, we are a volunteer-driven organization. So every help, we need all the help that we can get because we get we get cases every single day. It varies. Like there's definitely not it cannot be each family's plight cannot be generalized. So each family, each case is different to another. So we get loads of messages every single day seeking our support, and we have several groups, and we have almost 88 groups in care station, handling the projects. So it's a lot of work and
No, I
very
understand.
fulfilling, though very fulfilling and rewarding. And I can assure you that once the volunteers who are there for the right reasons, of course, we have many volunteers who joined, who, obviously when you see the pictures, it's pictures, you are with the children or you're with the elders or you're doing some voluntary work, and it's really, you see them and you get really motivated to do something, and that is where most of them join. But when they don't see is a lot of hard work that is done behind the picture, behind the scenes. Like when we have an event, it takes about month or two for us to organize that event and plan that event, and it's a lot of work. So when they realize that, when I started volunteering at elders homes, like for weeks, all I was given to do is wash toilets and wash the beds and change diapers, and that is all that I did for like a week or two, and only afterwards they let you, really get do the other work like feeding them or doing something for them. So until then, that is how they check whether you are really there for the right reasons. So in our case too, when we realize that most of the volunteers join for that, but when they realize how much of work needs to be done towards that, they tend to leave. So you need to be committed to what you are taking up.
Definitely, definitely. And I guess probably they might be doing that or to see how serious and committed you are.
Probably,
I
I
guess,
think
right?
so.
Probably,
Especially the missionary homes, they were very strict. Their rules were very stringent. So
yeah.
yeah.
So,
But I think
guys,
it was also good because I gained a lot of experience through that, and it really also, put life in perspective and humbles you so much.
it
It
makes
really
you
humbles
grateful for what you have, right? When
completely.
you see what people do. Because when I was back in Sri Lanka, I remember this incident in Moratuwa. There was this orphanage that I had visited, and what broke my heart, I ended up crying. There was this line of kids, 2 years, 1.5 years. They were waiting for their diaper to be changed. I know it's nothing big, but for me, it was just I
It
couldn't
is,
take it. They just
you
walked
know,
in a line and it is I feel
it is.
now I'm
It's a
tearing.
different world altogether, to be honest.
It is,
It's
it
it's
is.
not for the faint-hearted, for sure. I'd come home every day and cry and not want to go the following day. I remember, continuously I'd come home and stay up at night and cry that no, I'm never going back. But then I wake up in the morning and end up going. So yeah, it is because these care homes do not have enough caretakers, and the caretakers are not always the most loving and patient. So it's a very different world altogether there in the care homes.
I know.
Yeah.
And Razni, like, how can people actually, how do they reach out to you, or how can they reach out to you for help?
Well,
What
most
are
people
the
reach
steps?
out to me. Yeah, so most people do reach out to me. They send me messages, but I'm very bad at responding to message. My messages get piled up. I get so many messages every single day. So, and I check them like it piles up, and then I check them
I
on a
can
day that
vouch
I'm
for
free,
that.
but it can be too late. I know. So sorry about that. So, I always start with apologies for the late response to most of y'all. So the thing is, that is why there are so many. Since we all working remotely, most of our work is done through through the phone and through social media, so it's a bit difficult to keep track. So I always tell them to report the cases through our website. We have a link in our website that says report a family. So if you know of a family who needs support, or if it is you who needs support, you can go and fill in the details in the form and submit. Then the relevant group members, team members handling the project will get in touch with you. So and we also take on first come first serve basis, as we get so many cases reported every day. We are not able to, due to limited funding that we have, we are totally dependent on local donations. We do not have monthly funding that comes up into our account. So every project that comes in, we put out on social media and we fundraise for them, and that's how we get the cases. So you'll have to wait. If it is not like urgent, we will have to wait till you hear back from our team. And so you can go, all the details are on the website or on our social media
Station
platforms.
website, is it, Razni? It's the cash station website
Yes,
we're talking about. Okay.
www.canstation.lk.
Right.
We are on
Okay.
Instagram, we are on Facebook, and we are on LinkedIn, we are in Twitter, we are in all the social media platforms. So you can reach out to us through any of those platforms, and yeah, so the members will get in touch.
Okay, excellent. So there you go, guys. If you know anybody in need and if you cannot help them by yourselves, don't always rely on organizations, because I think they are there to help the most needed. So if at all, if you cannot help, then please do reach out to them. And Razni, most precious, would see, and her team of volunteers will see what they can do. So Razni, let's talk about your goals a bit for the next 5 years, or what are your goals actually? What do you have in mind?
Goals. My goals have always been to initially it was to start my organization, and then we registered the organization, which was a long strenuous procedure, which we did. And it is to grow in pace and partner with more organizations and be able to reach out to more families and people, to have a stable donation coming into our organizations monthly, to be able to fund all the projects that we carry out. And personally, it would be, to spend more time with my family, my son, and watch him grow and make the most of every moment. That's about it. My goals have always been very simple.
Though they're simple goals, they're, like, I would say, very heavy goals, right? One thing is taking care of family, it's not easy. And the other thing is establishing an organization that does not necessarily show monetary motivation, and even the team of volunteers, because I think this world is spiraled around getting monetary benefits. And for working towards more of a self-fulfillment thing, it's commendable, Razni. I mean, not everybody does that, and it takes a lot of patience, I guess. Have you ever felt like you want to give up?
All the time, like I said, all the time. It gets really overwhelming at times. It's emotionally draining, physically draining. It exhausts you, and then you want to give up, but it's also the reason what drives you. you know the knowing that there are so many people who are actually in need of your support, and why they are reaching out to you, and there's something that you can do, and it's, I think, a blessing itself. I'm truly appreciative of the blessing and of the opportunities that I get to be able to help the others. So yeah, so having that is, I think, keeps me going. And every time I want to give up, my husband always reminds me why I started this, and I am taken back to how I initiated all this and came without the support of everyone. And the awards actually have always served as a stepping stone to be able to reach out to more people. It has never been about the recognition and the fame or whatever that came with it. It's been more of how many people are able to reach out to me through that exposure that I have got. So that was all my husband's doing in applying for those, and then being chosen and given. So alhamdulillah for the journey so far.
No, but Razni, I guess sometimes as women we don't give credit to ourselves with all the work that we do, and these awards are a way of motivating you. And I'm so glad, and you have a spouse who is so supportive and who admires you for what you do. So that's a blessing also, I guess. To all the men out there, please do support all women
Of
who are
course.
courageous and they have a dream. So this is what you get when you support a dream. Razni is a product of support that she has received, I'm sure, right? Because otherwise I'm
It's a
sure she
two-way
would have
street.
dropped
It's
out
always
somewhere
a
down the line.
Yeah, it's a two-way street. You have to give as and it's a give and take. Both parties have to be able to compromise and give in certain situations. So one thing he told me was the weekends are for us. When I started, he said you can do all weekend, all day. You can. He given me the freedom to do all the work that I do, and he's very supportive. And but he insisted that the weekends that I spend more time with my family. So yeah, so that is a balance that we try to make in the relationship, and it has worked for us. So every relationship it's not the same. So you have to see what works for you and try to balance it with each other. But finding a spouse, I was very adamant about finding somebody who would support this work, because I had seen, I think, several proposals. I had met so many, and they all thought it was just wishful thinking. You could stay at home and you could still do charity. There'll be people coming home asking for money. You could give to them and you could be happy with it. So what was the need for you to go out and do what you do? And so there were like so many questions like that. But I was very adamant, and I didn't give into family pressure that I was succumbed to at that time. And finally he came along, and alhamdulillah it just worked
And
because
we
he
are
too had
also glad he came along so that you can continue doing what you're doing. God bless
alhamdulillah.
you as well. Alhamdulillah. So we have few more minutes, guys. If you have any questions for Razni, please do shoot in so that we can answer at the end of the session. Razni, I need some wisdom quotes to the youth today. At least
Yeah,
three.
so for the
Yeah.
wisdoms, do not aspire monetary wealth. It can be very liberating and liberating to have a lot of money, and you might feel like, having a lot of money is what makes you happy, a person happy, and have it all. But not uh, but that's not all. Money is not everything. So most of the youth are after making a lot of money. That's what they want to do. So don't aspire to have monetary wealth alone. And also trust your gut and follow your passion. um, yeah, so that is what I would say, because you need to do not f- do not give up on your passions and your dreams. Whatever challenges may come your way, so try to give room for your passions as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Razni. And now we've had a very serious conversation. I wish I can talk to you longer, but Instagram has just 1 hour of free live video that they've given us. So at the end of this session, I'd like to do a little bit something fun with you, right? Some rapid fire questions, as I like to call it. First
Right.
question. Yeah. So let's say if you were a boy for one day, what would you do?
If I were a boy, um, I love traveling a lot. I'm a lot. I like going on late night drives. Um, yeah, but I wouldn't go by myself late at night, not to here. So I would maybe travel around the country by myself. Yeah,
Okay.
solo traveling.
Solo travel the country if you were a boy. Okay. Razni Razik. If she was not doing what she is doing today, what would she be doing?
A teacher. I started my career as an early childhood educator, and that being around children was something that I really enjoyed. And if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I would definitely be a teacher if I could.
Okay. I give you a magic wand and I give you two wishes.
Two wishes, any kind of wish.
Any kind of
Um,
wish.
I would wish for peace, peace of mind, and also um, to be able to rejoice in the simple pleasures of life for at all times. Sometimes we tend to take it for granted, and when things get overwhelming, you tend to forget. So yeah, those two.
Okay. What is fun, Razni, according to you? What do you do to have fun?
Fun. Um, for fun. Okay, now that's a question that no one's asked me before. It's for fun. I'm a very boring person, I think. When I don't have anything else to do, I do a lot of embroidery work, and I read a lot. So maybe I would be doing those two for fun or then traveling. Yeah, whenever we get the opportunity, we always try to travel. So travel is what traveling, yeah, makes me a lot happy.
All right, okay. So I could set up a date with you. It can be a male or a female, a date, just a coffee date, right? And you can have a conversation with anyone in the whole world. You can pick anyone. Who would it be?
Hmm. It would be.
It's rapid fire. You're not allowed to think. You need to tell me the
There's nothing coming to my mind at the moment whom I would go for a coffee with. Well,
me, please. Somebody says girl craze.
go on crazy. Yeah, definitely. She's one of our core team members.
Okay.
Very integral part of Care Station. Some of the members are
No,
here
she's
again.
not
I think
allowed
the
to
meeting
take
is
you.
here.
She has to tell me someone else that she's allowed to take.
Somebody else. Oh, no one's coming to my mind. I think I'd have to pass that question. There's no one else I go for coffee with. I'm a very boring person that way.
Okay, okay, no problem. Then you can take me. One day we'll go for
Oh,
coffee when I come down to
gladly,
Sri Lanka.
gladly. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, and a magic carpet to travel during COVID.
Oh, I really miss traveling a lot, and
Where did you go?
where I'd go to. I'd Probably I miss visiting the places I used to visit, and so I'd first visit all of them. And the now since I'm in Colombo, I don't get to visit often to the care homes. I'd visit them, and because magic carpet now you need a lot of there are a lot of legalities in place where you have to get authority approval to visit these places, and it's a long procedure, so I wouldn't need any of that, so I visit the care homes and also visit other countries. We maybe visit my brother. I've been longing to visit my brother who's living in the UK, and my sister-in-law had a baby recently, and I haven't seen the baby yet. So yeah, definitely, I would want to visit them first.
All right, Razli. That's the end of your rapid fire, and I think we have about 2 minutes. So I really want to thank you. It was an amazing conversation with you. Such a selfless human being. You're just the way they mention in your interviews. She's just raw, guys, and honest. And this is what a real package deal looks like. Somebody who wants to go out and help the world. And I'm honored to host you today, Razni. It was amazing talking to you. And yeah, I will upload it on YouTube, guys, on my YouTube channel, Shafma Diaries. So I'll rip it off once we finish and upload it so that you guys, if you've missed it, you can listen to it. Any words before you leave?
Thank you so much. This is my second Insta Live ever. I'm very camera shy and very socially awkward as well. So I have severe social anxiety, so I avoid crowded places and events. So this, after speaking to you over the phone and you made me feel very comfortable. When you offered me to be on Shafma Diaries, I just couldn't refuse. And I hope the program